eliminating mediocrity, inspiring possibility, and raising local talents for the global stage. This is what we are known for, and this is what we are passionately pursuing. And we hope that for everyone that we come in contact with Reset Global Initiative, it would be helped to get rid of mediocrity and inspire for all the possibilities that there'll be, and then find in his or herself talent that can be harnessed for societal impact and for personal growth. And we are also very emphatic of the fact that even though one would start locally, he has prospects, and if he's concerned about growth and is very determined, he will surely hit the global stage. So this is what we stand for, and this is what we are pursuing tenaciously. So I welcome you once again to this webinar series, and we ask that you sit tight as we continue. So today we are going to be beginning a series on growth mindset. We are going to begin a series on growth mindset. This is just an introduction. We'll give an overview of what growth mindset is all about. We'll be focusing on overcoming stagnation and embracing a growth mindset. And subsequently, we may delve into some other areas practically, and we are hoping also that we will have people who would come share their experiences with us on this series with time, how they began and how they grew steadily to where they are, and also that they will share with us their experiences of stagnation. I know that for everyone who had grown, he probably would have experienced some times of stagnation or some times of setback, limitations that such a person was able to overcome and then make a headway as he or she had done and had been where he is. So we'll have such people discuss with us and share with us insights on their life journey. So we'll be looking at overcoming stagnation, embracing a growth mindset today. And I am yours faithfully, Dr. Swain Festus, who is the Executive Director of Reset Global Initiative and the MD of Davis Chicken House. I'm also a lecturer with Joseph Sawo Antaka University, Makurdi, in the Department of Veterinary Physiology and Biochemistry. So you are welcome once again. So we would like to delve into the discussion proper now. So we are talking about stagnation, and as the world is fast-paced, it is common that we will feel stuck at times, whether it is in our personal lives or careers, our creative endeavors. Stagnation can leave us feeling very frustrated, unfulfilled, and unsure of our next step. Today, we would explore how a good mindset can help us break free from this feeling of stagnation. And we'll also be profiling ways of how to break free from stagnation so that we can be prepared towards the continuous improvement and the successful life. So One thing I want to establish is the fact that it is, even though abnormal, it is common to find yourself in this kind of situation. It's common to find yourself stagnated because of several factors that surround us, our society, the economy, and a lot of other factors that may play to bring you to the point where you begin to feel you are not really making any progress significantly with your life. So, if you are at that point in life, it is not uh, completely uh, uncommon, or you're not alone. Several persons would have faced that. I have faced that myself at some point. And so, would want to encourage you that it is also possible to break free from that point where you are and prepare yourself towards a steady and continuous improvement and success in life. So, in this webinar, we'll be covering understanding stagnation. We'll identify signs or symptoms of stagnation. We'll also look around what it means to embrace a growth mindset, and also uh, bring forth some strategies that will help us overcome stagnation. Now, understanding stagnation. What is stagnation? Stagnation refers to a state where there is little or no growth, development, or progress in a particular area of life. It can occur in various aspects, such as personal development, career, relationship, or even in broader contexts like organization, in economy. You can see stagnation occurring. So stagnation is often characterized by a sense of being stuck, unmotivated, or unproductive. So when we are talking about stagnation, uh, it's we are looking at a state of you not experiencing any growth, any form of development, or making any significant progress with your life, with your career, with any particular endeavor you have set your mind to pursue. And so these spheres, you may see that you are having this kind of scenario playing out. And beyond a personal experience, it can be an experience of an organization, it can be the experience of a whole nation or a state. Uh, and in such a situation, you will see gross underdevelopment. You will see that such an organization is not bringing forth new things, no new ideas, no new products, no new programs, no new activities. They are just going around a cycle or doing the same things over and over and over again. And that is not really a good thing at all. You will notice lack of motivation. You also notice lack of productivity. So I said that this is a serious anomaly. It's a very serious anomaly. Why? Because the norm of life shows that every living thing grows in size and in number. Every living thing grows in size and in number. Now, in a society that people are living in, that society is supposed to be growing both in size and in number. In in a business that is run by human beings, it is supposed to be growing because there is life involved. And a business can only be said to be alive when it is growing, both in size and in number. And for you, an individual, you can only, for you to prove that you are actually alive, you have to be growing. You will have to grow in size and in number. Now, you discover that an individual can grow in size to a point where he is no longer growing. But at every point in life, there is a form of growth. You may not be growing in height, in size, but you are growing in other aspects. You are either growing in number, you got married, you are multiplying, you are procreating, you are growing, you are growing in your career, in your business, in your life generally. So there is always a growth taking place in a life once that life is living. Growth is essential for adaptability and survival. In this world that we live in, one must have to be growing for him to be able to adapt to the conditions, environmental conditions, and be able to survive. Imagine you give birth to a child and that child refuses to grow. He will not be able to adapt. He will not be able to survive. With time, he will not be able to, meet up with what is going on in society. So you there is a deliberate need for growth. There is a deliberate need for growth for that life to be able to adapt and survive. Also, that growth is nature's provision for bringing out innate potentials of life. Now, when a child doesn't grow, you will never know what that child can accomplish or be able to do with his or her life. So the life has to grow for it to be able to begin to do the things that it is meant to do, to be able to impact in society, to be able to, how they change or affect its environment positively. So growth is nature's provision for bringing out the innate potentials of life. So these are norms. There are other ways we can also put it, but these are the few that I can bring out now for us to know that stagnation is an abnormality. The normal thing is that life should grow. The normal thing is that everyone, every business, every economy, every state, every nation should grow. And when there is no such thing, it becomes a serious problem. So what brings about this stagnation? What brings about this condition of stuntedness or lack of growth? Anything that has the capacity to hinder growth can bring about a state of stagnation. These factors may be internal or external in nature. So for us that are in poetry, stagnation or stuntedness is a very serious problem. When you bring birds and they are not growing, because in the business of broiler production, time is of the essence. You are putting in resources, and that resources must have to be converted into something tangible with time, and it must have to be with time. It is time bound, and if you must make profit, what you are putting in must be translated into a good result for you to make profit. So stuntedness is a serious matter in that sector. And for every Business stuntedness, stagnation is a serious problem, and even for human life, it is a problem. So anything that is capable of bringing about lack of growth, anything that is capable of making one stunted or making something stunted can cause this state of stagnation. So some of the common causes that we can encounter that can bring about stagnation are lack of challenges. Lack of challenges. When you are in a place where you don't feel challenged, you are not made to think and innovate. If you are in a place where you can easily feel like a local champion, you are above at least the people around you at that point, you can easily just settle on that level where you are. After all, everyone there is hailing you. Everyone there is hailing you, is making you feel big. So you are not challenged. You are not made to think that there is more you can seek or there is more you can accomplish. That makes you stunted. You can never achieve your full potentials in that kind of situation. You will just feel that that is all that there is that you have accomplished already. Now we're looking at this kind of scenario, me and my friend, and we discover that around here, when someone graduates and is able to get a government job, that person is seen to be very successful. And we discover that a lot of people, once they have hit a government job, they feel they have arrived. And when they turned by this side, everyone, most of their peers have not been able to secure a job. So it looks to them as they have arrived. So they can settle on that level. They are not challenged to do anything. But for some of us who have gone out and have discovered that people are doing a lot of things, even people who are working with government. So you feel challenged, you feel motivated for you to seek for something. So lack of challenge and make someone stunted. Fear of failure, when people don't want to, take risk and do things uncommonly, do things out of the usual, and delve into gray areas of life where people have not explored. When it brings a lot of fear when you want to delve into such areas. So when you are fearful, you will not be allowed to do such a thing, and then it makes you stunted. Comfort zone trap, which is a common thing, and then external circumstances such as the job market and personal issues. Now, one issue I would like to also mention here is that when you find yourself in a job that is not giving you satisfaction, but yet you are still on the job, it's not something that you are interested in, but just for survival, you are there. It can bring you stagnation. You are just there just because of survival. You can be stagnated. So some people, this is the only job that is available. So they just pick it and they continue doing it. And because they can't find any other job, they stay there and they become stagnated. So the job market also play a role, and personal issues. As we go forward, you will discover some personal issues that can bring someone stagnation. So other causes that can make someone stagnated: wrong choices. When you make wrong choices in life, they can bring you to a point of stagnation. A young lady that is growing up that will not control himself and gets into an unplanned marriage will certainly encounter stagnation. When you make wrong career choices, you can also uh, hit the brick wall and be stagnated. Lifestyle preferences, when some people have things they want to do with their life, there are things they feel they can't do, and what they want to do, they are not even making any headway with it. So what they should have done that will make them uh, move more faster with their life, they don't want to do it. So they have preference for some things and not others. So because of that, they are stuck in that preference. They don't want to explore other areas of life. So it can get them to the point of get someone to a point of stagnation. So early gratification is part of what I said earlier. Lack of knowledge. When you don't seek for knowledge, you can easily be stagnated because in this present era that we are, knowledge is changing with time. Knowledge is fast changing. Technology is changing a lot of things with time. So if you don't gain knowledge, you are easily outdated. You are easily left behind. So people will be going forward and you still think things are still happening in the realm of the knowledge you have, and that would keep you there while the world would have advanced to a very fast. The next thing is society or family expectation. Society or family expectation. Uh, this can also be likened to, people who probably had gotten into wrong career choices because family wanted them to be like this, and then looking at society, they felt this kind of profession will be more saleable. That is not true. It will not suffice. It will not play out, because what you are good at gives you a better ground for you to move faster, to succeed, than what people feel you should be doing. So when you allow societal influence and family influence so much, you would sometimes get yourself into this state of stagnation. So stagnation doesn't just come most times. You may see some of the symptoms, some of the signs occurring before stagnation finally happens. Now, these signs may become chronic when you already landed yourself in the zone of stagnation. You will see them more, coming out more pronounced than when they were just giving you green light. They were just showing you danger. But if you are quick to pick these signs, you may be able to, avert entering that zone. But when you find yourself there, you see that they become more chronic. So some of the signs or symptoms that, manifest when someone is heading towards stagnation are these that we have here. You see, by what we have said is to say that stagnation can be diagnosed. Stagnation can be, it can be prevented also. It can also be, you know, some of the predisposing factors to it can be noticed earlier, and then, preventive measures put in place for it not to occur. So These that I've mentioned here can serve as predisposing factors and also actual symptoms, actual signs of stagnation that occurs when someone has finally landed in stagnation. So the first is decreased motivation and enthusiasm. Decreased motivation and enthusiasm. You just find yourself becoming less motivated. You find yourself not having interest in things that before now interest you. You find yourself struggling to perform tasks or duties that were walkovers for you, things you could do seemingly. You discover that you are beginning to struggle with them, and you are no longer so excited when such things are mentioned any longer. So when you are beginning to notice these things around you, you should know that you are becoming stagnated. You are heading towards stagnation. You are heading towards getting into a cocoon that will, put you in one place for a very long time. The next issue is a feeling of stuck or trapped. When you are feeling stuck or trapped, you may be headed towards stagnation as well. Yeah, so lack of progress and lack of development. Now, over time, you have noticed that you are still in the same place, doing the same things for long. No new certificate, no new knowledge gained. You have not read a new book. You have not attended a seminar or a workshop. You have not done anything that has added to your life. And you have not achieved anything physically or tangibly that you can point at or say, this is what I've achieved within this period. It means that you are lingering around stagnation already. Stagnation may have set in, or you are plunging yourself into stagnation. Now, when you are someone who constantly procrastinates, you also are predisposed to stagnation. Now, the issue with growth and stagnation is that they are time bound. They are things that has to do with time. When you move from one level to another, there must be a time that would have passed. And if you are not moving, time will still be moving. So when you procrastinate things you would have done, you have lost time also. You have lost time, and you discover that it becomes a challenge for you. And when you keep losing time like this, you discover that you remain in one place for a very long period of time, which is not very proper. The next thing that shows that you are heading towards stagnation is that you begin to experience boredom, frustration at your work. When you begin to experience boredom or frustration with the work you do, even with your business, even with your career, it means stagnation is lurking around, or you are already in that state. Now, when you have a tilt towards popular opinion, you can also be heading towards stagnation. Now, people that make progress in life are people that are driven by the uncommon. They are driven by the uncommon. They don't do regular things. They don't, go with the regular, with the popular opinion. They are often doing things outside the box, outside where what people ordinarily would not do. And when you do that, you see yourself being set apart, being distinguished, and you will be making proper or more steady progress. So someone who is tilted towards popular opinion will definitely, at a point, begin to experience this kind of stagnation, because it's not everything that people want that you should do that is actually what you should be doing. So lack of direction and purpose. When people live goalless lives, aimless lives, without definite destination, no defined destination, definitely it will be going around a cycle, and that's stagnation in itself. So lack of direction or purpose can also bring one to stagnation. And finally, with the list I have here, inconsistency. When you are inconsistent, that is, you start one thing, you don't see to the end of it, you switch to the other thing, you don't see to the end of it, you switch to something else, you will discover that you are not achieving anything. You can become a master of a jack of all trades, but master of nothing. You have not mastered anything. You are just doing here and there and there and there. You will discover that you will sooner or later hit the brick wall of stagnation. Now, growth mindset is a powerful tool. It's really, really a powerful tool. So let's look at, we have talked so much about stagnation, and the direct opposite of stagnation is a growth mindset or growth. Direct opposite of stagnation is growth, and it refers to the process of developing, improving, or expanding in some capacity. It can be applied to various aspects of life, just as stagnation, and you discover that growth involves moving beyond current limitation, learning new skills, and achieving greater levels of understanding and capability. So when we talk about growth, we are talking about you breaking limits, moving forward, advancing, improving, expanding. So that can be when you are learning new skills, you are achieving greater understanding, and you are building capacity. So growth in a sense has to do with self-development and capacity building. Self-development and capacity building. So a growth mindset is in a nutshell a mind that is set on developing, improving, and expanding it or herself. It's a mind that is set upon developing, improving, and expanding. So this term, the growth mindset, was coined by the psychologist Carol Dweck. And it refers to the belief that abilities, intelligence, and talents can be developed and improved through dedication, hard work, and the right strategies. So this is the concept that brings about growth. The concept that brings about growth. But it has to do with a belief. It has to do with a belief system. Now, because it's a mindset, it has to do with the belief system. So you must come to a point of believing that you are capable of development, you are capable of improvement, you are capable of expanding in whichever sphere you have found yourself. You have what it takes to move overboard, to break limits, and to go beyond what the ordinary person would want to go to. So it is something that will stick in your mind and would want to, you will, give you a an ability, a tenacity, a momentum that can now propel you to a greater height. Now, in contrast to growth mindset, is what we call a fixed mindset. So, a fixed mindset simply is the opposite of a growth mindset, which means that you don't believe in growth, you don't believe that your abilities, your intelligence, and your uh, talent can grow. You are just comfortable, static in what you know, and you just have the mindset that nothing can change. And that's not good. So a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset versus a growth mindset. A fixed mindset says, I can do it, while a growth mindset says, I can't do it yet. What that means is that the fixed mindset will outrightly say they can't do it. But a growth mindset, when it hits a challenge, will say, even though I can't do it now, I can learn and be able to do it. So someone who has a growth mindset is someone who is ready to take up new tasks, even if they are out of his reach at the moment. He will take, learn, study, explore everything that is required to execute that task and execute it. It doesn't wave away any task or any responsibility. So this is what it means to have a growth mindset. So when this mind settles inside of you, you are able to make significant progress with life. So when you have adopted a growth mindset, you will become a resilient person, you will be adaptable, and you will have a lifelong learning mindset. You will be resilient, adaptable, and be teachable. Now, remember, we said that the norm of life is that life needs to grow for it to be able to adapt and survive. So, a growth mindset gives you the ability to adapt and also survive in whatever climate you may find yourself, whichever climate, whatever climate you may find yourself. So, embracing a mindset, a growth mindset will mean that you recognize and challenge limiting beliefs, things that your mind has accepted that has kept you bound, that has kept you behind. Recognize them and challenge them. Now you're beginning to tell your mind that I can do this, even though I cannot do it now, I can do it with time. You're challenging the beliefs in your mind that kept you from trying new things, that kept you from launching into the uncommon and into the gray areas of life that you should have launched into before now to make progress. It also means that you are embracing challenges as opportunities. You don't see a challenge and shy away from it. We use it for advancement, for progress. It also means that you learn from criticism and feedback. When people tell you about yourself, you listen to it and then you adjust. If the criticisms, feedbacks are positive, you take them and improve on them. If they are negative, you try to change course and do better than you are doing presently. Also, embracing a growth mindset will mean that you celebrate the small wins and the progress you have. Even though you have lofty dreams, the ones you have achieved at the moment, you should be happy about it and celebrate it. That is what keeps you motivated. That is what keeps you enthusiastic about what you are doing. That you have been able to achieve this little, you will be able to achieve the bigger ones also. Now, you would have to also cultivate a mind of curiosity and a love for learning for you to be able to grow. Now, strategies to overcome stagnation include you setting clear goals, seeking new challenges, continuous learning, building a support network, and reflecting and reassessing yourself. Now, you will see that what we have listed here, if you give yourself to it, you will certainly see significant progress with your life with time, even though you are already at a point of stagnation. When you decide to begin to set very clear goals and pursue them to a logical conclusion, you will discover that you are moving from one step to the other. When you seek out new challenges, you step out of your comfort zone, you take on new projects or responsibilities, you would have seen that you are making progress. Continuous learning, investing in personal and professional development, attending workshops and webinars and courses, just as the one we are doing, building a support network, finding mentors, finding coaches, joining professional groups or communities will also help you in overcoming stagnation if you are already there or you are beginning to sense that you are heading towards stagnation now. When you regularly evaluate your progress, the serious error that many people do is they never sit back to check their lives or look at the graph of their life, how it is going. And many people, because of that, even when they are retrogressing, even when they are going down the drain, they don't notice it. It's very important to sit and reassess, reevaluate your progress. See how you planned your life, where you are supposed to be and where you are now. You will discover that several years have gone past and you have not really arrived where you were supposed to be. So it will help you to readjust your goals and also strategies in order to be able to move fast and move to where you desire to be. So this, in nutshell, is what the background that I've set, and we would like to open the room for interaction now so that we can now discuss and learn from each other, learn and be able to, improve ourselves as we engage in our various endeavors. So this time we allow for interaction before we would conclude and move. So I would like to pause at this point and ask us to feel free to contribute. If you want to talk, just hit the raise up hand so that you will be given the floor to talk. Are we together? Hello? Can you hear me? All right, Dr. Onoja, go ahead and speak.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Swem, for that insightful presentation.
Thank you, sir.
I I really benefited a lot from what you shared, and I want you to know that yeah, you have done very well, and I appreciate what you have done.
Thank you, sir.
Uh, I am a typical example of one that was almost stagnated, but instead of having a fixed mindset, I talked within myself. I should have a growth mindset,
Yes.
and for I came to do my PhD program in Malaysia since 2019, even without any financial support. And as I was just starting my program, COVID-19 came in, locked us down. We couldn't do anything in the lab. And at the end of the day, my program was truncated.
Hmm.
I went back to Nigeria and reapplied again and came back and started in 2024 a fresh PhD, still
Hmm.
without financial support. And I'm still progressing and I'm moving on with all this hardship financially. I'm still moving on. So, uh, having a growth mindset, as you've said, is really, really going out of your comfort zone to make sure you achieve what you want to achieve. God bless you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for that um, life experience shared. Uh, it's inspiring indeed to know. And it's not everyone that can do that kind of thing after a long time and your sister. So we are blessed by that experience you have shared, and you have stood as an example for us in resilience, example for us in resilience, in adaptability, and your unwavering, commitment towards self-development. You have been a very good example to some of us. So thank you very much, sir.
Thank
Anybody
you.
wants to say something? Charity, you like to say something? Hello?
Hello, sorry, I left a bit. My network was a bit problematic. I just rejoined.
Okay.
What was the question?
All right. So we are hoping you have some insight to also share to us on the topic we are discussing.
Okay, concerning growth mindset and stagnation. You've done a very good justice to the topic. Um, my own contribution would just be from the point of encouragement,
Yes.
because sometimes some persons have this perspective that it is late. We
Hmm.
tend to we tend to judge our growth on other people's yardstick, especially when one recognizes or comes to terms with the fact that he or she had made a mistake along the line. So
Yes.
for me, I would say it's not about failing. Failing is not actually bad. It's actually sometimes it's actually a way of going back to re-strategize. You learn from the mistakes that you have made. Where it becomes a problem is where some people recognize, you come to terms with the fact that, hey, I might have done have derailed from my original plan. So what do
Mm.
you do from there? So failing sometimes is not the problem is failing to move forward. And you have actually done justice to the trigger and factors that could actually lead to stagnation, and evidences to also show that one is stagnated. So mine is just like, if you recognize that you're stagnated, being there without doing anything will still keep you stagnated in the next 10 years. So moving ahead and accepting, accepting and coming to terms with the fact that this is actually my reality pushes people to actually seek for solutions, right? So that is just my contribution. When you recognize that you're stagnated or you have really derailed from your original plan, reach out, look for solutions to that problem. And when you look back, maybe 5 years from where you are in the future, you'll be actually glad that you recognized your present situations and you actually made input or took steps to correct it. Thank you.
Oh wow! Thank you very much for that encouragement. It's very um, timely and it's very insightful as well. Um, do we have anyone? If you have a question, you can also ask, or if you want to say something, you also say, because we are heading towards the close. Hello. Okay, so in the absence of any question or comment, I will just take a few minutes to share some experiences as well. Firstly, I am also a very good example of someone who stagnated and also um, picked up a growth mindset and was able to make progress significantly. Now, when this happened to my life, I was not even aware of this concept. I didn't know that there is something like growth mindset. I didn't know that there is something like stagnation. But as I grew up, I discovered that that was what happened to me. It was long when I was still a boy and still beginning my education at the primary school level. By the time I was finishing or graduating from primary school, I could not read. I could not pick up a book and read. Now, what contributed to bringing me to this point was that the kind of work my parents were doing at that time, my dad particularly, we were involved in brick making at the riverbank. So we would go to school, from school, go to work at the riverbank and be closing very late. Even as a little boy, we come back around 7, 8, tired. There will be no time for anything. I attended public school and we were also in a very difficult situation. Parents were civil servants, were barely struggling. So the learning condition was also very poor. And I remember at some point, I also attended evening school. I will go to work in the morning, close around 12, and go to school around 2 o'clock. Go to school around 2 o'clock when I was in primary school. So it was all about, for my parents, it was all about work. There was no time for studying. There was no time for any other thing. So I could not read. I was not making any progress with my academics. I was considered a dummy. So one of these days, my dad called me to read a novel. He called me to read a novel for him. I should just read that novel to his hearing. He was reading and it was interesting to him, and he called me to read. So when I got the book, I could not read. I was just startled. I stood before him for over 30 minutes without mentioning a word, and he was surprised. How come this boy cannot read? And at that point, I was in primary 6. I was supposed to take common entrance to go into to JSS1. Oh, he asked me, what did you do at your common entrance? This one that you cannot read, it means you obviously failed the common entrance. So I actually failed the common entrance. So I was just managed into JSS1. That day, my dad gave me a beating, the hell of beating of my life I have never forgotten. He gave me that book to sit down and copy it word by word. I was there in the sun from morning till evening, copying that book. And rising from there, everything in my head changed. My mind was formatted. I said, this book, I must know it. And I'm going to prove to my parents that I'm not a dummy. So that was where everything about my life began to change. When I got to primary to JSS1, I quickly noticed that there was one boy in the class, very brilliant. I went and I became friends with that boy. Unfortunately, that boy died. He was a sickler. The boy was a sickler and he died when we got to JSS2. The boy died. It became a challenge for me again because he was really helping me, teaching me how to read and all of that. So I was beginning to pick up and improve. I found anyone in the class that could read and could do. I was there. I was not ashamed of anybody. I would ask. I was so passionate about it, and I started improving from there, one step at a time, until by the time I was in JSS3, and I brought back my results to my parents. My dad said, this result cannot be your result. You cannot produce this kind of result. It was really demoralizing. I felt so bad, but my mind was still saying, no problem. I am going to prove you wrong, that I am not a dummy. So I was able to continue until I wrote my WAEC and NECO at one sitting. I had my result and I got into the university. Because this mindset was still there, this mindset of growth was still there. When I got to the university, that was when it became as though I was like a genius. But I was not born a genius. But when I got to the university, everything went so high. My performance became unusual. Thank God my teacher is here. He will attest to that. Dr. Onoja is here. He will attest to that. See, anatomy, 530 unit course, I made an A in that course. I was making straight A's. So it was, I'm just trying to say what a growth mindset can do to someone. For me, it changed everything about me. If not that, I wouldn't be a lecturer by now. I wouldn't be here talking. The second thing is, I am doing this Reset Global initiative because it is something I knew long that I was going to do. But I didn't start earlier because I was feeling it's not time. I don't have the resources. And people around me were not used to those kind of things. It looks like I was just wasting my time. If I thought of doing something like that, it looked like I was just waiting. But it came a time when I became restless within me. And I said, regardless of whatever anybody would think, I am starting. Whether there is no resources, I am going to start. And when I start, I will start no matter how small, I will be moving forward. Whether people believe in it or not, whether anybody support it or not, the little resources that I have, I will be committing to it, and I will be doing it gradually until it will become something big, and it will bring forth the kind of impact I have envisaged to bring to society by this initiative. So my life was almost stagnated at a point. I was becoming unmotivated. I was becoming unenthusiastic. Many things were no longer interesting me. At a point, even this lecturing job, at a point, it became boring for me until I began to see differently. I discovered that beyond reading, beyond lecturing, I can help my students to also become the way I did. I could recognize, identify struggling students and give them attention and help them grow academically deliberately. Beyond just, being a teacher, a lecturer, I can also become an academic mentor to many people. Those things formed the idea that brought me to where I am and what I am doing now. It has made lecturing job more exciting for me now than it was then. And it has made the whole job more interesting for me because I have found an additional purpose, an additional responsibility, so to say, for me. So that is how you can do. And then it is making me become more productive at my work. So that is how you get to the point of coming out of stagnation and making progress. So I have other experience, other areas I could share, but I just want to stop here for want of time so that we can make progress. I can see Dr. Amine joining us, the NVMA Benue State Chapter Chairman. Welcome, sir. Is Dr. Amine there? Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Festus. I'm here.
Thank you. Would you like to lend a voice to this discourse quickly before we close?
Yeah, as by God's grace, I was part of the inauguration of this initiative, and it's highly a welcome development. My activities today, it's been a bit busy and challenging, but I tried to join up so I could also learn from your experience and that of others. And I encourage that you keep this good work up so that more we key into this and we'll get more global leaders to improve their life and their career and their professions. Thank you very much, Dr. Swam. We love what you're doing.
Thank you, sir. All right. So thank you so much, Dr. Amine, for that warm encouragement. and for finding time to join in the midst of your very tight schedules. So, in the absence of any other comment, I would like to close with this take home that we said earlier that stagnation happens. It comes when we least expect. It is people get to that point. It is a zone that people get to. Even very successful people at some point in their lives experienced stagnation. But the good thing is, it is not the end. One can break forth from it, break free from it, and be able to continue making steady progress. We also said that growth is the normal thing for life. Wherever life is involved, there should be growth. And for you also, you should be deliberate about growth, deliberate about growth. It will help you to adapt and be able to survive the climate of the present generation, the present economy that we have found ourselves in. It is only a growth mindset that can make one to fully or properly adapt to this climate, to this economic climate where we have found ourselves. If not, life will really become frustrating. It will really become tiring. You will feel so stuck, and some people, this is what makes them contemplate suicide, and then they become carefree with life and just live aimlessly. But if your mind is set on growth, you always explore possibilities. You always explore ways of growth on how you can make life better for yourself and also impact society. So thank you so much for finding time to join this webinar. I would encourage you to keep uh, faith with us. We'll be doing this webinar series from time to time. We hope that it will be monthly. And like I said from the beginning, we are going to be having people come to share with us their experiences, and also we'll be, discussing other very important topics from time to time. So please, when you see our invitation, keep it at heart and join. It will really help you. And I noticed Dr. Onoja raised his hand. So quickly, can you speak? Go ahead.
Yes, I was trying to say if we could take a snapshot just to remember
Okay.
the day.
All right. So everyone, you can put on your camera so that we can do a screenshot. You can also do a screenshot from your end and keep it. Please, yes, put up your cameras. Peter, can you put up your camera? Josiah, are you there? Put up your camera. Okay. All right. The snapshot has been done.
Thank you so much for the presentation. I appreciate you.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for finding time to join. Your presence is really an inspiration, sir. I really appreciate.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. All right, so we will end the call at this point. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, so much for finding time to join. God bless you, and do have a very lovely weekend and stay positive. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes. All right.